Welcome to the Top Business Leaders Show, powered by Rise 25 Media. We feature top founders, executives, and business leaders from all over the world.
Chad Franzen here, co-host for this show where we feature top restaurateurs, investors, and business leaders. This is part of our SpotOn Series. SpotOn has the best-in-class payment platform for retail, and they have a flagship solution called SpotOn Restaurant, where they combine marketing, software, and payments all in one. They've served everyone from larger chains like Dairy Queen and Subway to small mom and pop restaurants. To learn more, go to SpotOn.com. This episode is brought to you by Rise 25. We help B2B businesses to get ROI, clients, referrals, and strategic partnerships through Done For You podcasts. If you have a B2B business and want to build great relationships with clients, referral partners, and thought leaders in your space, there's no better way to do it than through podcasts and content marketing. To learn more, go to rise25.com or email us at support@rise25media.com. With more than 25 years in the food service industry, Seth Brink has spent many years building and growing brands. He built more than 30 Papa Murphy's pizza locations, both internationally and domestically. Currently, Seth spends his time as president of Arete Food Group, or AFG. AFG owns Gyro Shack, a growing quick service franchise, and their latest acquisition, Negranti Creamery, a young sheep's milk ice cream company. Seth, thanks so much for joining me today. How are you?
I'm well, Chad. Thanks for having me.
Hey, yeah, great to have you. Hey, if you don't mind, take me kind of through your journey, your career journey. I know you started as a mechanic in the U.S. Air Force, so start there and then kind of take me through your experience in the restaurant industry prior to what you're doing now.
Yeah, so prior to going into the Air Force, I actually just worked. My first job was at a Papa Murphy's Pizza.
Okay.
And so I went into the Air Force, and of course, during my time, I went in to get money for school and decided while I was there that I was definitely not going into the restaurant industry when I got out. And lo and behold, I got out of the Air Force, and the first thing that happened is I was offered a job in the restaurant industry. So, just kind of how it works, I suppose, right? And so I went back to Southeast Idaho and worked off and on for a Papa Murphy's Pizza, managing for a franchisee there in that market. And, about 2 years later, they asked me to come in because it was a family business. They had a market in Southeast Idaho and a market in Southeast Iowa. And one of the family members was leaving the Iowa market. And so they asked me to come on as a partner and go out to Iowa and take over that market. And so obviously I took that opportunity, was there for about 3 years, kind of right-sized the market, got it humming pretty well. And we decided to go down to the Nashville market. At that point in time, Papa Murphy's was really growing at a pretty good clip. And so we took on that market with a 40-store deal to build out the whole Nashville DMA. So 7 years, we built 20 stores in that DMA. And about 4 years in, the son that I had replaced in Iowa came back. And at that point, I kind of knew that, there was limited runway for me. And so I reached out to Papa Murphy's International. They had just signed a big multi-unit master franchise agreement for the Middle East and North Africa. And I chatted with some of the individuals there and said, look, I went to Saudi when I was in the Air Force. I was stationed in Korea as well. I'd love to go international if you guys ever need somebody. About 4 months later, they called me and said, hey, we are going to place somebody in Dubai. And so, within a year of that conversation, my family and I were living in Dubai, acting as a liaison between the master franchise group and Papa Murphy's International.
Wow.
It was a great adventure. That's one place I would move back to in a heartbeat, just as a side note. And so we were there just over a year. Kind of in that tenure, Papa Murphy's went public. And prior to them going public, International was overseen by the chairman, which is fairly unorthodox. And so Papa Murphy's went public. The CEO took over, and in doing that, his focus was not on international. So they, rolled my job into somebody else's and my boss's as well. And so I came back about 8 months earlier than I was supposed to. When I came back, I partnered with a franchisee, Papa Murphy's franchisee in the Boise market, and came on to help him run his stores. And at the time when our initial discussions decided that in order to keep me busy, we were going to have to find another brand. And so that's where Gyro Shack came in. So we bought Gyro Shack in 2015 from Gus Zahariadakis. At that point in time, it was just a two location brand, converted double drive-through coffee shops converted into quick service Gyro brand. So we sell Gyro sandwiches, right? Mm-hmm. So we cut our beef lamb mix off the spit and all fresh vegetables, fresh sauce and hummus, and just a quick service Gyro high quality product out of a coffee kiosk, basically.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah. So that covered a lot of years there.
Yeah, definitely. So, hey, how different is it to kind of, produce and sell take home pizzas, take and bake type pizzas in Dubai or internationally compared to here in the US?
So it was very interesting, actually. So we went over there. I was not part of the team that signed the agreement or anything like that, but my boss went over there shortly after the deal was signed, prior to me coming on. And within 2 days, he had a conversation with the chairman that said, if you want these guys to succeed, they're going to have to bake and deliver pizza. And so the population in that area of the country, specifically in Dubai, is significantly different than it is in the US. If you live there, you know that 80% of the population are service workers. And that can be anywhere from construction workers to Papa Murphy's pizza workers. And all of those people live in dorm type situations, and they don't have ovens.
Oh.
And so they have microwaves, but they don't have ovens. And so if you only do take and bake, you immediately cut out 80% of your population. And then as you start to look at it, so very stratified culture, right? You've got the Emiratis and the Arabs kind of at the top, and then it works down with Europeans, Americans, Brits, and so on and so forth. But when you're at the very top of the echelon, and that's, call it 8% of the population, those people don't cook. They have maids that cook for them. And then as you look at the ovens, it's not like a typical American oven where you set the oven at 425. It's got a dial that says 1 through 10. And so you have to try and explain to them, okay, you need to set your oven on 5, but watch it. And the people that buying it aren't the people cooking it. Does that make sense?
Sure.
So a big portion of my job was building out the processes with our partners over there on how we would bake the pizzas in the store so that we could then deliver them hot. And then alternatively, we still did take and bake, but it's a very small percentage of sales.
So you were able to pivot then when you realized that the market just wasn't going to work out for take and bake exclusively.
Absolutely. Luckily, the partner that we had brought on, who had a great amount of experience with Burger King in the Middle East, and they knew. So when we got to Dubai, and this was in 2013, everybody delivered. Burger King delivered, Carl's Jr. delivered, all the major pizza players, but everybody delivers there because it's such a, it's like a Manhattan, is how I'd put it, right? Everybody's on the go. People live vertically. They don't live horizontally. And so there's just no choice.
And how did it go? How did it go once you kind of made that pivot?
It went great. We got the first few stores open, and they all opened great. There's always challenges when you open a new brand in a new market, but it's just a matter of getting out there, doing those events, the local store marketing and outreach, and getting your name out there, right?
Sure. Hey, so tell me a little bit more about Gyro Shack. You started out with 2 locations when you purchased it, and now you have 8. Is that correct?
That's correct. So we had 2 in the Treasure Valley. So Gus Zariadakis is the founder. Basically, what happened in 2009, Gus was looking for something for his son to do, Cameron. And Cameron and Gus, they went on a family vacation back to Greece and were visiting family on Crete. And they went to this just little walk up Euro stand and bought Euros. And Gus said, hey, we could do this back home. So immediately came back home, found a small 125 square foot a based defunct coffee shop and started selling Euros. And I can tell you in the first few years, they played a lot of solitaire. Looking at those sales, but he stuck it out. They started really small with a hot plate and a vertical roaster and made Euros, and then just making the traditional style Euros. And then what happened is the brand evolved, and people were asking Gus for different taste combinations. And Gus is a chef at heart, so he's very good at creating different flavor combinations and getting people's input and just kind of diversifying the menu. So what happened is he started with those first 2, what I would call the original and deluxe. So the original is just going to be the traditional Euro, right, with tzatziki, Euro meat, onions, and tomatoes. And then the deluxe, you would add feta to that, to really going out of the box and creating one called the spicy bacon avocado, right? And the name kind of says it all. You're getting Euro meat, avocado, bacon, spicy sauce, onions, and tomatoes. We've got a super Euro that has about 10 toppings, an ultimate that's got 12 on it. And so what he did is he kind of built this out and diversified to make a gourmet Euro segment. All of them still being able to be produced in 125 square foot coffee shop in under 3 to 4 minutes.
Wow. So are your you have 8 locations now. Are those still basically small coffee shop type situations?
So we bought it from Gus in 2015, and I messed it up about every way you could. So you know how it goes with new ownership or new executives at an existing company, right? Everybody's got the next bright idea. And I've definitely fell victim to that. So what we did is we came in and we're like, okay, we're missing the boat here. We need to have seating. And so this was in 2015, 2016. So we immediately opened a couple locations here in the Valley, Boise Treasure Valley, that had seating. And it definitely brought in a segment, but it wasn't like, it didn't increase overall sales. It just kind of traded people that were in the drive-through for those dine-in customers.
Mm-hmm. And
so currently we have 3 drive-through only. We've got a big 1,800 square foot location that was the original 125. So we went from 125 to 1,800. And what we found is the economics of the kiosk are significantly better than that 1,800 square foot building, just because you have lower rents, less overhead, less, all of your fixed costs are lower, all your variable costs are lower. And so, over the last 4 years, we've kind of come full circle back to the double drive-through model. And so currently we are developing in Arizona, a couple of corporate store locations, and then we have a franchisee in Albuquerque, and all of the future markets will be drive-through only.
Okay.
So that we can leverage those economics and kind of build from that platform.
And you guys are offering franchising opportunities then with Gyro Shack?
We are, yes, absolutely.
What do you think are the kind of what makes Gyro Shack an attractive franchise opportunity?
So Gyro Shack is a small brand, right? So anybody coming in on Gyro Shack right now I grew up a franchisee, right?
Yeah.
And so I would tell you I've been in their shoes. So, with that level of experience in the franchise world, there's not many franchises out there that can say that. So I would like to think that I'm a franchisee focused franchisor. And you're looking at a completely untapped food segment. So if you go or you've been to Europe or the Middle East, you look and you see gyros, you see shawarma, you see doner kebab, and they're all kind of everywhere, right? You go to Germany and it's every corner. You go to the Middle East and it's every corner. And the only real markets that aren't tapped like that for that segment of food are, North and South America. And so we're on an up and coming segment of high quality, healthy food that, in my mind is ready to take off in the US.
So what goes into opening a double drive-through location?
So currently we're partnering with a company in Arizona called RJ Russo. They're building a modular building for us. Mm-hmm. And so the second location that we build in Arizona will be that model. And then our franchisee in Albuquerque is actually working with them as well. So, we recommend finding the best corner that you can and plopping down a modular building on it. We always recommend, depending on the balance sheet of the franchisee, if you can buy land, but if you can get into a build to suit situation where the landlord is going to reduce your initial investment, we really think that that's the way to go. It's a long-term investment for the franchisee and for the landlord. So that's our preferred method of development. So right now, what we're really doing by going to Arizona is taking our money, right, our funds, resources, and proving portability. Because the problem that we have right now is that we are a 8-unit chain in Boise, Idaho, mm-hmm. and that sells ethnic food, right? And so if you ask a lot of people in Boise, in my opinion, they would tell you, great, you can do it in Boise, but have you proven it anywhere else? And so that's why we're taking our resources and investing in Arizona to prove it out so that then we can grow at a higher rate.
What steps are you taking to kind of, spread the word and make Gyro Shack, an attractive place for people in Arizona or in a place outside of Idaho?
So Arizona specifically, the reason that we are going to Arizona is because of the demographic. So in Boise, Idaho, ethnic food is not very popular. I spend probably 30 to 40% of my time in Boise educating people on what gyros are, right? Mm-hmm. They just don't know. Gyros, gyros, every single name that you could think of. And so we wanted to go to Arizona because you have all of the snowbirds, right, coming from the Midwest where gyros are a staple food. And so by going to Arizona, we can kind of capture that population, but it's also a market that's much more diverse than Western Idaho. So with, quite a few more foundational gyro brands, a lot of them being mom and pop, right? There are no quick service gyro brands in the US. And when I say quick service, there are other brands doing kind of what we do. You've got Naf, and a handful of other Greek brands, but none of them are quick service in the essence of like fast food. We have a menu that's got a number 1 through 12. You order by number. You can customize as you will, but it's not the fast casual model where you're standing in line and saying, hey, yep, give me that. Yep, give me that. Yep, give me that. The reason that we did that is to try and keep the speed, right? So if you're customizing every single item, it just takes too long, and you can't get people turned around quickly enough and be cognizant of their most valuable resource in my mind, which is time, right? Because you can never get that back. And so what we're doing is building out these locations, and really as we get this new location in Tucson open in the next 60 days, our focus is creating that big e-blast and just reaching out to the community and creating an event so that we can really see what the brand can do in another market, creating that excitement. Once we can, prove that concept in Tucson, then Katie bar the doors as far as our marketing outreach. We're still, we recently partnered with a franchise lead source who's giving us some leads here and there, but we're picky, and we're taking the steps to make sure that we get the right people on our bus, because the last thing that we need is franchisees that aren't a right fit, right? So we firmly believe in getting people that want to, one, grow the brand how we want to grow it, have restaurant experience, and love Greek food.
And I'm guessing your experience, internationally trying to tap into other markets can only benefit you.
Yeah. So, every market has its nuances. The thing that I know, and just being in numerous markets and trying to educate public, and whether we're talking about gyros or sheep's milk ice cream or Papa Murphy's pizza, it seems like I keep landing in these brands that need some education. But whether you need education or not, if you've got the best burger in the world, the best way to market that is to get it into somebody's mouth. You can tell them all day that it's the best burger in the world, but if they can't taste that, then it's just the best burger in the world. So we really try to go out, and as we open new markets, and even today in Boise with, 13 years under our belt, we give away free food like it's going out of style, especially when people haven't eaten our product, because the food speaks for itself.
What about you mentioned sheep's milk ice cream? I'm guessing you're referring to Negranti Creamery.
Yeah. So
how did you get involved with that? Tell me about that.
So Negranti Creamery is founded out of Paso Robles, California, by Alexis Negranti, and she and her husband Wade founded this. And basically what happened is Alexis was going to Cal Poly, kind of didn't know what she wanted to do, looking for a healthier solution to give her young children with kind of sweets, right? And so she, with her ag experience and degree, she realized that sheep's milk was significantly healthier than cow's milk. And she decided that she was going to create this ice cream in order to kind of work through it and figure it out. So they legitimately went out and bought 3 sheep and started their own dairy. And from there, she took the milk and she pasteurized it, and firmly, she wanted to make it egg free. So typically ice cream is thickened with egg, right? So that's the only way you can get that right consistency. But she didn't want to put eggs in it, so she used tapioca starch. And then she only used real ingredients. So there's no guar gum, there's no sweetening agents beyond pure sugar cane. And so if you look at one of our ice cream labels, the vanilla bean has 5 flavors, right? Or 5 ingredients, excuse me. Vanilla bean, vanilla extract, tapioca, sheep's milk, and sugar. And so, creating that brand that she felt confident being able to give to her children. And so what happened is they were founded in Paso Robles, and our majority partner, his name is Mark. His son had a winery in an area in Paso Robles called Tin City, and it just so happened that his son's winery was 2 doors away from Negranti, and Mark is an ice cream fiend, for lack of a better term. He loves ice cream. And so he started eating at Negranti, and his son was friends with Alexis and Wade. And, kind of one thing led to another. And we were looking for, kind of during COVID, we were looking for another brand to bring on, and ended up chatting with Wade and Alexis and licensed a location in Boise. So simply started out as a licensee and got that location opened up in the last year. And kind of during that time of us signing our license agreement and getting open, Wade and Alexis made some life decisions and decided they wanted to leave California and move to Tennessee. And so kind of during that process, we'd previously talked to them about, hey, we could definitely add to your team operationally as far as operational skill set. We've got all the back office systems and, all of those nuances. And, if you take that and you pair it with Alexis's creativity and marketing mind, we thought we would make a pretty good team. So we pitched it early on saying, hey, if you ever want to sell, let us know. And kind of after they moved to Tennessee, they changed their focus and, a few months later asked us if we would like to buy the brand. And so what happened is we ended up partnering with Alexis. She's still on our team, handles all of our marketing, product development, and branding. Mm-hmm. And so May 2nd, we brought that brand on, and now it's, obviously a completely different supply chain, but we're working to scale everything that we have and go out and find new locations. And it's interesting because it's just a significantly different brand than quick service food, right?
Yeah.
You're talking about a high-end ice cream as opposed to quick service. So I've learned a lot in the last couple months, but it's still, it's a fantastic brand with great health benefits and things I never knew, right? Like sheep's milk is higher in protein, lower in sugar, lower in fat, lower in calories than cow's milk, and it's lactose intolerant friendly. And so it still has lactose in it, but it's got much lower levels of lactose than cow's milk. And it carries different proteins that help to digest that lactose. So people that generally have issues eating cow's milk, for the most part, don't have issues eating our ice cream.
How's the taste? Would you notice the taste? Is the texture different, or is the taste different? I know the ingredients are so straightforward. Does that work out for taste?
It does. So the biggest challenge we have is people mistaking it for goat's milk, right? Because there's a lot of people in the US that get sheep and goats confused.
Yeah.
And goat's milk definitely has a significant tangy flavor to it. Sheep's milk does not. So sheep's milk is much closer in taste, from what I've been told, to just like a natural mother's milk. And so the taste is not. There's no big taste difference. There's a slight texture difference from traditional ice cream. It's not quite as creamy. And the best way to make the comparison is it's much closer to homemade ice cream. So when you make ice cream at home, you only put whole natural ingredients in it, right? And so it's got a little bit of an icier flavor to it. And that's because we're not adding those, egg thickeners or any of those other gums or additive to make it creamy.
Okay. What are some of your kind of your goals? Do you have any specific goals with Negranti moving forward?
Yeah, so just continuing to grow, right? We've got the 4 locations now. So, when we partnered with Wade Alexis, they had they had one location in Paso Robles. They opened another one, and then a location in Atascadero, California. We've opened the Boise location. We've got another location in Eagle, Idaho, that's going to be opening early next spring. My focus right now, before we start to grow too massively is just getting supply chain under wraps, right? There's some efficiencies that we need to fix, but once we do that, we'll definitely be looking. We won't franchise, just because we really believe that this brand is more conducive to licensing. So we'll license out the ice cream, and if our partners want, we will 1,000% help them design and build their locations. But if they want to design their own ice cream shop and sell Negranti Creamery ice cream, we are 100% okay with that too. And so, once we can bring the production to scale, we will definitely start looking more at looking at the location building, right?
Yeah.
Additionally, being based in Boise, Albertsons is a big company here. And so we currently have distribution in pretty heavy distribution in the Bay Area. So Paso Robles is in the Central Valley, if you're familiar, probably 2 hours west of Fresno. And so we have distributors going to grocery stores in both Orange County and in the Bay Area. So we've got that avenue that we're growing as well. We were in the Seattle market, kind of came out of the Seattle market over the last 6 months, looking to get back into the Seattle market and just growing that retail side of things, working on. So the way that ice cream works, generally speaking, you've got all of the big grocery stores do a reset every year, and when they do that reset, so like right now they're looking for ice cream for next summer, right? Because right now we're in peak ice cream season. And so all of the chain grocery stores will do a reset, and then they'll allow you to present in the September, October, November range, and kind of help them convince them why they need to put you on the shelf. And then that would be for, beginning in March, April, May timeframe for next year.
Okay. So there's a brick and mortar location in Boise, right?
There is. Yep.
What's kind of the
downtown Boise.
What's kind of the like the vibe there? Like when people walk in, what does it feel like? Is it an exclusive place? Is it a party place? What's kind of the vibe there?
So I would tell you it is inclusive, right? So definitely it is a crisp, clean environment, and it mimics what Wade and Alexis did in California perfectly. You come in and there is a lot of white, right? And we mix in golds and blacks so that it's not sterile, right? Because you can definitely get too white at times. But you come in, music, lots of sampling, as always with ice cream, but even more important with us. So you've got people trying our flavors: strawberry basil, blueberry lavender, cookies and cream, of course. You've got your vanilla bean, you've got black coffee chip, and all of those. And then all of our flavors as you look at those. So I say strawberry basil, and when we make the ice cream, we're making it with fresh basil. I talk about, we've got a flavor called Thai tea, and we actually steep the cream in Thai tea overnight before we make the ice cream. So, all of our specialty flavors we're taking in, that extra step to make sure that it's an authentic flavor and taste. And so you look at our mint chip, for example, and it's not green. Well, that's because we don't add green food coloring. And so we use, real mint. So you'll see specks of mint in it, but you're not going to see it as a green mint color. And so, you're coming into an ice cream shop and you've got a friendly face that's looking to educate you, right, on sheep's milk ice cream. But at the same time, if you are, and you can try the sheep's milk, everything, of course, you can taste test. And if you decide it's not for you, we also do carry 4 flavors of cow's milk ice cream, which we make in-house as well.
Okay. Sounds great. Hey, how can people find out more about both Gyro Shack and Negranti?
So Gyro Shack, you would go to gyroshack.com. That's GYROSHACK.com. All of our contact information is there. If they wanted to reach out to me, it's Seth.Brink at gyroshack.com. And then Negranti Creamery is going to be just that, negranticreamery.com, Negranti creamery.com, and then just Seth at negranticreamery.com.
Okay, great. Hey, final question for you. When you go to either one of those places, what are kind of your go-to items of choice when you go to Gyro Shack or Negranti?
So Gyro Shack, I've got, when we bought Gyro Shack, my children were 11, 9, and 7. And we all have the same go-to at Gyro Shack, and it's the spicy bacon avocado with green spicy. And that's a house-made green spicy avocado and serrano pepper paste. And then at Negranti, I am a peanut butter guy, so it's always going to be peanut butter chip.
All right. Sounds great. Wow, peanut butter chip sounds good. Hey, Seth, it's been great talking to you. I really appreciate you sharing all your stories and your thoughts and your insights. Thank you so much for your time.
Absolutely. Thanks, Chad. I appreciate you.
So long, everybody.
Thanks for listening to the Top Business Leaders Show, powered by Rise 25. Visit rise25.com to check out more episodes of the show and to learn more about how you can start your own podcast.